What is up, Gorilla Nation? It is Relentless here, bringing you yet another Division 2 video. But if you would be so kind, please show some love to that like button. Also, smash that sub button if you happen to be new to the channel. And don't forget to reach up there, trigger that bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. Also, if you want to continue and further your support for the channel, you can become an official member of the Gorilla Militia. All you have to do is click on that membership button. You get exclusive content, tons of perks, also membership only videos, as well as you get custom emotes for live streams, and also custom sub badges as well that you can use in comment sections to let everybody know that you're an official member of the Gorilla Militia. But today's topic, and I know there are tons of other things, and the list can just go on and on and on and almost be infinite as far as the problems and the things wrong with the game. But this one, in my opinion, directly affects and makes the harshness or the atrociousness and the RNG so horrible, and even more horrible in its current state that we are currently in. And what I'm talking about crafting. Because, as we all know, RNG absolutely sucks. You can do even heroic control points, and maybe 1 out of 20 to 30 pieces that you find out of doing all those might be a contender as far as being a good piece. Most of them are mediocre, and they might have just like one particular stat that you're able just to throw in your recalibration library. But for the majority of the part, you get crap, and in most cases, you even still get tons of purple, even doing heroic level 4 control points. But speaking of crafting, now I wanted to craft an AR, so I wanted to craft a Savage Wolverine. So instead of farming repeatedly those assault rifle zone specific points, as far as just getting the assault rifles to drop, which is, it seems like everything else that's in that Loot Pacific zone that's meant for ARs are dropping more of everything else than it really is ARs, and then also those have even mediocre stats. Now, I'm not going to make this big, speech or anything like that, but I will be, sending this to the devs and hoping they hear and listen. I know it probably fall on deaf ears because, let me just be frank, I mean, I'm a nobody. But at least I'm not a lack of, effort. I'm relentless in my efforts and trying to, make things better for the game. But as you'll see, starting coming up, I began on my crafting mission. And as I talk through it, you'll see the crappiness of the rolls in which I actually get from trying to craft a decent Savage Wolverine. Now, I can understand crafting 10, 12, maybe even 15 of mediocre to poor rolls on particular items. But there comes a point, at least some part in there, you should get at least one major high-end or high stat value on the core attributes of that rifle. But as you see on the screen, it's just more and more that 80% of it is not even at 50% stat-wise on any of its attributes. So it's like, what's the point in stockpiling all these materials and getting the blueprints to craft these things when it's just as crappy as the RNG? So, and that is why I stated at the beginning that I think the crafting situation makes the RNG situation even worse than it already is. Because if you can't find the decent pieces and then you go hoard all these materials in which to craft some of these items that you have the blueprints you're looking for, and you craft and craft and craft, like I did 25 or 30 pieces. I think I got 2, this being one on the screen, being halfway mediocre because the core main stats are above average. I say they're in the top 75 to 80% percentile of that 100%. And then of course that swap speed, I can easily change it out to damage to armor or something else. The rest are even more piss poor than that. So out of like 30, I got 2 that was pretty decent. They were in that 75 to 80% percentile as far as its core attribute, and then it had a piss poor third attribute, which is that's reasonable. And then I was able to more or less just put a better stat on that one, so it made it an overall decent AR. But once again, as you can see, those just mediocre, piss poor stats. But anyways, back to the point. And then the only other two that was even viable that I got was it's in its base core attribute, to where it was just a stat for me to put into my recalibration library. But something has to give and something has to change. If the RNG doesn't get any better, then the crafting percentages of getting better rolls on pieces when crafting, it should be like out of every 10 it should have at least one max core attribute stat on it, and then it should be left up to percentages for the other two. Because if just be frank, it shouldn't be easy to just immediately go in there, craft 4 or 5, and out of those 4 or 5 get a god rolled stat assault rifle with all 3 stats maxed out on it. There should be some percentages, but when you're getting piss poor stats in the top, or I should say the bottom 10% of those stat attributes, it is just degrading and just makes you feel even worse. Like, okay, I go out here and grind tons and tons, loot specific zones, I do heroic, I even attempt to do legendary, but yet I still can't get any decent or good rolls or anything near to god rolls, and the vendors have just been atrocious even more, and these things start to snowball and stacked on top of one another. So I can understand the frustrations. And despite the devs and most people having to work from home due to this whole COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic that's going on in the world, which is, I can understand things and response rate are going to be slow, and they can only do so much from working from home. But this is more or less still an ongoing problem even before this pandemic started. It was actually the RNG crafting pandemic before there was actually a world live pandemic that's going on now. And I just want to bring this to light, and hopefully, I do appreciate the devs and what they do. I'm not trying to blow smoke. They pay me nothing. I'm not an influencer, in my opinion, of any sort. I'm a nobody. But these crafting situations do need to change. Either the RNG needs to get better, but even still, if the RNG factors they get better, then the crafting still has to get better too, because it's kind of like it should be a give and take system, to where you shouldn't have to go up there and farm for max crafting materials, and then you craft up to 30 to 40 to 50 and get 2 decent possible viable options to choose from, and then everything else is trash. So what is the incentive to actually go out there and continue to farm for even more crafting materials when you come back to this mess that you get your hands on by crafting things? I mean, what's the point in having blueprints and crafting something if every single piece you're going to get is piss poor, and in the bottom 20, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, the bottom 25 to 30% percentile out of the 100% of the stats that you can actually get on a piece. But that's enough of my rant, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm eager to know your opinion. And like I said, I know there's other problems that are possibly and are a lot bigger than what they are. And then it's just a whole part of everything compounding and having that snowball effect, where it's not just one thing. It's like we get one thing solved, another thing breaks, and it's a never-ending vicious cycle on this never-ending Ferris wheel. We have our low points and high points, that's fine, that's typical, but yet it seems to the Ferris wheel stops more or less on its side or bottom tier end of it more often than it is at its peak. So let me know in the comment section below. Appreciate all of the support. We'll see you guys fudging later. As you can see on the screen, I'll fast forward it, but it's just continuously nothing but mediocre, and it's just sad to even watch this all over again as far as these rolls and trying to craft these ARs. But we'll see you guys fudging later.